$600 pension 10, 15 years ago won't buy much of anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him. And 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
The Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability.
RTD midday stream. Figure I'd check in and see what's going on. Wasn't able to get to my normal streams this week as I would like to have. And so figure I'd check in this Friday for a quick minute to find out what's going on. And then also share with you something that just came across, something that's caught my attention that I thought was well worth sharing. And so with that being the case, welcome to this midday stream. Won't be on long, just wanted to check in. And so let me see who's joining us thus far. If we have any new viewers, feel free to let me know where you're watching from. We got Spirit King, low blood pressure, student of life. It's a low blood number 1, Corpus Christi, Texas. Spirit King, thinking about me. I appreciate that, my friend. What's going on out here? So, a couple articles that came across my awareness today was that looks like the U.S. gave Turkey 2 months to drop their deal with Russia on those S-400s or else. And then I've posted, let me actually go to the page. I posted a lot of articles about recession. And so it looks like the mainstream news has warmed us all up to the reality that recession is occurring or underway or whatever you might want to call it. And so there's an article right here in reference to the meeting that took place this week that was written from the standpoint that from those who were there in the audience, because it was geared towards providing external economists into the Fed's world. And so according to this article here, written by someone that's head of an institute, research economic institute, he's basically saying that they're warning us to get ready for quantitative easing ×2. And so I'm thinking we're being slowly but surely warmed up to the reality that monetary easing is a permanent policy that will be implemented real soon. And as we've all learned or had a chance to learn that this past monetary easing, quantitative easing didn't really help those on Main Street. So I'm not convinced that it will actually reach the mainstream economy in a very helpful manner for those that weren't blessed by the last, 4-point-something trillion that was brought into existence. So, but that is what it is. So get ready for, so that's another thing. I was thinking also, here we have a new norm of unprecedented monetary policy as far as the Federal Reserve Bank implementing a monetary tools and referring to a toolkit and what they can bring out of that toolkit to stabilize and continue this expansion. But yet, I would imagine, and let me know, and if I would imagine, and this is something that a lot of people might want to check into, but let me know what your thoughts are on, since we have a monetary institution, monetary base, the monetary side of things has drastically changed. We're in a new era of never seen before policies as far as a private body interjecting and experimenting with the world. But my question is, do you think that the financial advice that will be given or continued will change? So here we have monetary policy, quantitative easing, funny money, low interest rates, all those things we never really heard of until last 10 years, which hasn't really done much but created more bubbles, which are popping now. So they're in the need of this more easy policy. Then we're going to have your conventional financial advice. And so what concerns me is that here we are experimenting with currency like never done before in modern day history, but yet the financial advice that people will receive from their advisors, their trusted authoritarian sources, will not change at all. Apart from, I would imagine more people will hear information such as buy and hold, ride this thing out, because the equities markets they're really about to take off. But because they're going to take off doesn't guarantee long-term success, especially in a world where they're going to inflate the bubble more. And so when it pops, it's going to hurt that much more, in my opinion. But I'm curious to find out what you think. And that's why I figured I would get on real quick to find out what you guys think about that, because the Federal Reserve is warming us up for something we've never seen before, ×2, according to this article I'm going to show with you. But then again, I'm thinking like most people are not going to adjust or do anything differently outside of just ride the wave until it pops and suffer that much more as far as losses. But I just, really concerned. But what else you got going? That says, greetings. I think carry bars are in place to be the world currency. Crypto bullion, man. That would be a good alternative, but yet the carrot bars program is too small. Not a lot of people don't know about it, so I don't think it'll be utilized like that. But it definitely, in my opinion, could be a good hedge to this monetary policy that's about to be unleashed. It says, hello, Mike. We got the worst jobs report ever for May, and yet markets rally. Total horse manure disconnect from Main Street. Yes, but think about this, Ace One. We got those job numbers where they was anticipating 175,000 jobs, but only got 75. At the same time, Jerome Powell made his pledge to keep this expansion going. So basically the market moves according to what's said from the mouth of a few individuals, whether it be Donald Trump's tweet. His tweet can move the markets negatively, or Jerome Powell's mouth can move the markets in a positive manner. And what did we happen to get? Jerome's mouth moved and equities rallied, I think the next day or the same day, 300 points on the Dow or something like that, I heard. So I wasn't surprised at all. The video I did before that, I mentioned that anticipate equities to rally. And so Dow 30,000 is coming probably by the end of this year, give or take, if this easing is unleashed like they are preparing us to do. So that means, we're going to have much higher equity markets. And so for those that are dependent upon and want to ride that wave, you'll definitely have opportunity to get some artificial gains. But, and this is all my opinion, being that it's artificial in nature, it will and has to correct some way. But yet, the more entangled you are with looking at those nominal numbers grow, the more you're going to feel like, man, you're going to feel this sense of, I guess, perceived wealth. And when it does correct, or the bubble burst officially, because everything, can't go forever, so everything must correct. So when it comes down, it's just going to only hurt those that were dependent upon that more. That's all, in my opinion. And I keep saying in my opinion because once again, this is just solely one man's thought here, sharing with you guys. But I want to find out what else is going on out here. Jesse James says, how could you please explain President's tweet foreign policy? President tweets foreign policy. Could you please explain? So President tweets foreign policy. Okay, I thought you meant Trump. Tweets. That's the thing. Like when it comes to foreign policy nowadays, I don't really think it's necessarily policy. It's more so a dictate. So you mean like President Trump's foreign dictate mandates or something like that? Because when he just told Turkey, you got 2 months to drop that deal, and then left it at that. So I imagine that in 2 months, Turkey's not going to drop that deal, because I would imagine you would want to have Russia's S-400s because they are, they obviously must be a good product to where they threaten the U.S. ability to invade and all that stuff like that. So I don't see Turkey dropping that. So what will be the policy after that? We'll see. But it's more of a threat. It's more threatening these days than actual policy. So I'm not sure what you can call that. But I don't really, it doesn't really make much sense on the surface, apart from the powers that be needing to keep things the way they were and have been, and not willing to give up more power or more control over the system as it is. But the more they become, more tyrannical they become, meaning the U.S.-led intervention and policies, the more likely it is that people is going to leave or opt out. So everyone around the world is opting out. It says, Mike, should healthcare a right? Should healthcare be a right? I'm assuming you meant that, Spirit. If prisoners have it, is it moral not to ensure everyone else has it? Spirit King, y'all trying to throw me a loop. Is healthcare, I'm assuming the question is healthcare a right, a human right, I'm assuming. So once again, this is all opinion based, but once again, who's providing the healthcare? And so if you have private corporations that are in business for the sole purpose of returning and making a profit, then I'm not sure how anyone has the right to mandate and tell a corporation. Now, if the corporation is then living upon government subsidies, then you forfeited your right to being private. So basically you're a public service. But yet for a government to tell a corporation that you have to do this, do that, I think is not right, because that's once again government interfering in the private sector. And I don't think that's most people in that case, as we've seen here in the U.S., a lot of people in the medical field, doctors and all those people have gotten out because of the mandates. So I think it's more so the problem boils down to regulation. When government starts regulating and dictating what should be done, then it's problematic. So with that being the case, I think everyone should have access to health care, but as far as it being a human right, the only rights we have is to, it's God-given, in my opinion, is to wake up, breathe, eat, and sleep. I mean, outside that, everything else usually comes at a cost, which means someone has to provide it, someone has to work for it. And so if you want the government to say, give me health care, then you have the right. Then you will be subject to the right when they say, no, you don't have the right. And therefore you're out of luck, my friend. But yeah, that's what it is. So that's just my little 2 cents, man. And that's just off the top of my head. So let me know what you think. Says, are we going to kick the can further? Dreadhead locks. Yes, I believe we will kick the can further. But I think the one problem will be is that I'll actually pull this article up now, because we can kick the can further, but the only issue is that in kicking it further only makes the correction that much more painful, because we are now entering what would be considered the new norm of monetary and central bank intervention directly. And so what I foresee is that there will be a so from this article, it says Fed uses Chicago conference to signal it will use quantitative easing aggressively to fight the next recession. So in this article here, it's from a professor, economics professor, who was, I'm assuming he was there, who heard him and what he determined, what he deciphered from the Fed speech, or Jerome Powell's speech. But he was basically saying they're warming us up for the idea that it becomes a new norm. So what I see coming, and this is just my little prediction / forethought, is that usually all this funny money is interjected after something happens and it's justifiable because the Dow just dropped or this bubble just burst. So the world looks for, okay, we need some type of bailout or whatever. And so then, you create all this funny money. But now they're talking about creating funny money before anything officially happens, which I believe will fly amongst the political figures, because I think the Democratic side of things right now, they're preparing all this universal stuff, free this, free that, free that. So I think that'll be something that can be funded directly by the Fed somehow, by the government borrowing. But then we're going to have infrastructure spending. So I think Trump, if he gets reelected this next go round, he will then have to find ways to, utilize these interest rates cuts to spur more growth or whatever they want to call. And I think there will be an infrastructure package that will be put forth, like, something $1 trillion for roads, highways, green jobs, and they're gonna throw together the biggest infrastructure package mankind has ever seen that will be everybody's gonna be, more jobs, more this, more that. And something like that will create an artificial expansion that can kick the can down the road, at least another term, because it'll be, the Fed will be able to then buy these bonds directly from the government in increments. And so according to this article here, they're saying, at least 2 times the amount of quantitative easing. So if $4 trillion was brought into existence last time, we could easily get 8 before, or to keep this expansion going. So if we got 4 to 8 trillion artificially injected and put together in a package that is meant to be good for the economy, I can see this thing going on for quite some time, where equities will rally, there'll be jobs, and people be spending again, all that stuff like that, which could, once again, we're already in the longest expansion of 10 years now, and it's coming to an end. So to keep this thing going, they can probably try to get another 5-6 years off this thing, barring anything around us happening or other economies which can prevent all this from going down, because we're doing all this based upon our current economy here in this country, while every country around us, the EU, hell, Italy itself is about to be a problem. Australia's having issues, and hell, China's having issues. So we're not even factoring in the things we're gonna have to deal with because of those countries. So I think I anticipate some type of infrastructure package that could account for a lot of this quantitative easing that's being slowly but surely thrown out there that's coming. So with that being the case, to answer that one question, a very long-winded answer, I can see them kicking the can down the road for a couple years, barring any external influences that come into our country that we have to address directly. So, yeah, that's my short answer. My little short answer. What else we got out here? What else is going on out here in the streets? It says the Council of 13 is happy with the tweeter in chief. It says, Mike, some people, i.e. living in the streets, would be better in prison. They would have shelter, health care there. If government ensures that to criminals, shouldn't it also ensure it for good citizens? Spirit. So in regards to the healthcare situation, the government ensures it to the prisoners because they've given up their right. I mean, they forfeited their rights by entering into the criminal justice system. So even the fact that they provide prisoners all those what is now considered benefits, like, it's unfortunate that we are at a point where homelessness, as you're referring to, and people living in the streets is such a problem that it is seen to be a good idea to give up your rights by committing a crime to even go to jail to get good food, a bed, and some health care. Like, think about how bad things have come to where you have people who have no hope, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people come up on bad times or things happen, but yet if a solution is to commit a crime just to get caught to go to jail so that you can get these luxuries, that tells you that's a bad reflection of how bad the world is in general and how bad government has positioned themselves where people would give up their rights of freedom and opportunity that comes with that to go to jail. So with that being the case, once again, it's all government induced. So if the government gives it to you, they then have the right to take it. And so it's more so who do you want your rights to come from, in my opinion? Do you want your rights to come from you having opportunity to create for yourself? Or do you want your opportunities and gifts and blessings to come through an institution that wants to be the mediator between your success or failure and their longevity? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a give or take. And so I don't think there's a right answer to this. It's more so, what do you believe, what I believe? And I believe that every man, every individual person is responsible for their own lives. Now, what comes along with that, healthcare, roof over your head, food, shelter. I mean, I think if we all wake up in the morning, open our eyes up, there's opportunity everywhere. There's abundance everywhere. Now, if you're able to get involved and get some of that, that's all based upon A, your mindset first, but B, the amount of action you're willing to take to go get it. That's just me. That is just me. Here's an article here. I'll pull this up. And so I've opened a link. I've opened up actually posted a couple articles on the Facebook page just because it's easier to just drag and drop. But homelessness, just, that subject matter is becoming more prevalent these days. More people are talking about homelessness. And it looks like, California, the streets of California is just booming. I think I heard something about, 30-something million? It says homelessness, so I can't read this. It won't let me. It's on Wall Street Journal. But it says homelessness. I don't have Wall Street Journal, so I'll pop this up just so you guys see the title. But it says homelessness grows in California despite new government spending. Yeah, so homelessness in California is going to be an issue because the cost of living in California is so high. So I'm not sure how much the government can spend when it's not necessarily them spending. It's more so just the overall, that local economy there has been so inflated. And so the solution will not come from government, in my opinion. But that is what it is. So as always, if anybody has anything on their mind, feel free to call in. The phone lines are open. Wouldn't mind hearing somebody's voice. All rights are inalienable. I'd rather push a shopping cart than drop the soap. Okay. Yeah. Want free healthcare? Pack up and move to Canada. So yeah, I've heard a lot about the Canadian healthcare system and how it's not the greatest. And if you have a dire need, you might have to wait in line for a couple months. So if that's what people want, then yeah. I believe that the best thing would be for people to demand less government intervention and less regulation. Like, there's more than enough healthcare companies in business to provide the needs of the people. But the problem is because the healthcare industry is so regulated where the government's, puts all these restrictions and mandates on what they must do, it kind of puts them in a very tight position. And unfortunately, the Affordable Health Care Act has made it more so of a monopoly to where the government will pick up any slack that the companies can't make via profit. So once again, if they were to move themselves out of the way and let the companies compete amongst themselves for their own survival, where if they didn't provide great quality service, then their services wouldn't be utilized and they would go out of business. I would imagine healthcare costs would come down because people would pay with their wallets as opposed to the government subsidizing it. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Just had somebody here. Feel free to call back and I'll get you on. What else we got here? It says, Jennifer says, the Affordable Care Act has really hurt many of the middle class, making healthcare unaffordable and extremely high deductibles and copays. Yeah, copays and deductibles. Copays itself adds up. Like if you just go to see a physician for the bare minimum thing, just out of your own concern, they're gonna hit you with a $30, $50 copay or something like that. And he just tell you, you just walk into a room, he looks at you, say, you're fine. You gotta pay this guy to tell him you're fine. That's something wrong with that. What else we got here? Tony, hopelessness is more of a choice in California. Yeah, that's the thing. Like there's no right answer other than we're gonna find out. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. This is Matt. Truck driving in Dallas, Texas.
Matt, how you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight or this afternoon?
I'm all right, man. Listen, I read that book, Capital, by Thomas Piketty some years ago, and you talked about the healthcare and stuff earlier. His premise was, as more and more automation comes into place in the economy and people's standards of living go down and developed nations, that people are just going to vote for socialism, regardless of what's right or healthy for an economy. That's just the natural progression. People are not going to embrace losing what they have.
Right. I agree.
I mean, does that sound reasonable? I mean, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I kind of understand where the guy's coming from.
I agree. I agree with that completely, because as we're already witnessing now, as more unemployment kicks in, that's going to just leave people in a more desperate situation where they're going to be open to any suggestion that's thrown out there. And so if you just look at the current stance of most of the Democratic candidates now, most of them are offering some type of package that's very appealing to the public, that will be appealing to the public, just because it offers something that they may not be able to get on their own, or that might have been taken away from them as far as their employment or whatever. So automation will disrupt things automatically. So I'm not sure how this will play out if everyone has a free $1,000 a month or whatever it might be, and they don't work, but they're still expected to exist on this planet. Like, what would that look like? I don't know. But it looks to be the trend of something being labeled as free catching momentum very, very, very quickly. Hello? Yeah. So,
right, brother, man, I'll let you go.
I appreciate you for calling. Thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, that's a whole other ballpark. Automation, if I heard that correctly, that whole situation there will change the dynamic of the workforce. So yeah, there's a lot of shifts underway that will be an adjustment for everybody. Everybody's lives will be impacted by this current shift in our monetary system, which will impact our financial system, which will impact our entire lives in one way or another. But we have another call. Let's find out what's going on.
Hey, Mike, how's it going? It's low blood pressure from Corpus Christi, Texas.
Low blood pressure. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind this afternoon?
Good. Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to talk to you about this homelessness. In Corpus Christi right now, the homelessness is not as bad as you would think. Like, I see the big cities like San Antonio. I go there once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, there's not even that many panhandlers here.
Really? Now, is it that you haven't seen them, or you haven't seen them on your typical route through the city and through home, but probably on the outskirts or something like that, or what?
Well, there's homelessness, a little bit, and there's some panhandlers here and there, but not like you think, not like they see in California, and even in San Antonio, it's a little more, but nothing like California.
Yeah, and it's clearly the coastal areas are an exception, because the closer to the water, just the prices of property out there tend to be more expensive, and especially out in California, that amazes me that how expensive the state is and how the pension system is in problems. The taxation is high. I mean, you have all those factors that will vacate the premises, apart from whatever reason you might have to stay there. But I'm thinking, like, I would rather venture further inland to no man's land in the countryside, and I'd rather work someone's farm or something like that in the Midwest than sleep out in the streets in California, give or take, your situation. But I don't understand it personally, but it's unfortunate to put it like that.
Yeah.
But hey, man.
I wanted to ask you, did you see that little bump silver made up this today?
I saw it's 15.11 a second ago. Is it still above 15, or does it drop down?
Well, I haven't checked it in a while, but I'm getting pretty happy. Is this going to be the big run, or what's going to happen?
I wouldn't bet on it, just because, as I mentioned before, this quantitative easing, once this is injected, everybody, all the hedge funds, all those people, they're going to run into equities and bonds. They're going to run into the things that will suppress the prices of metals again. So I personally wouldn't bank on it. But, once again, I could be wrong.
Well, I hope you're wrong. For what?
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if it took off, or if it stayed the same, or went down, because it's all about being patient and thinking long term. And so I'm perfectly fine with things being the way they are. I'm in no rush for a catastrophe. I'm fine myself.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing. One final thought about this homelessness, Mike.
Yeah.
This country is going to be in a world of hurt Mexico, you see poverty. People are used to scrounging.
Yeah.
You see other third world countries, you know, people are used to living, hand to mouth, you know, the day's labor is the day's food.
Yeah.
But people here, they have no idea what that is. They're going to be in a world of hurt, Mike.
Yeah, I think that's the majority of the population in this particular country here. We've been very blessed and privileged to where we don't know what hard times are. And so I think everyone's going to be in for a rude awakening if things correct, or if things turn out to be somewhat equal to what the rest of the world is experiencing. I think everyone's going to be in for a shock. Kind of when I was hinting at before, this adjustment period between living in a world of an abundance based upon this credit expansion that might be extended based upon this quantitative easing stuff or not. But it's going to be an adjustment for everybody, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a whole United States of Katrina, you know, the whole country, you know?
Yeah. But I hopefully we got some time, my friend. I'm not looking forward to it myself.
Yeah, I'm ready, Mike. I'm waiting for it. I'm like, when's it coming? When's it coming?
Hey, be careful what you wish for, my friend. But I appreciate you, my friend.
Well,
thanks.
Let me let you go.
Have a good day, boss.
All right, sir. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man, be careful what you wish for, because when you get it, you may not. Yeah, we won't be able to go back, I don't think, to the good old days. So, you know how I think one of the biggest things is, here's a look at the silver prices, and it looks like we got a 1507. So let me see if I can pull these prices up here. What it looks like today. So we got a nice little bid. Let me pull this up. So we're at 1507 according to this. As of now, 1507, which is good. But yet, once again, I mean, you know, 1507 is not a paradigm shifter. But it's not bad. Not bad at all. I take 15. I prefer 10, but it's whatever. Anyway, let's keep it moving. But yeah, be careful what you wish for, people. Be careful what you wish for. I've learned that over the years of, you know, when you go through some little rough patches, you always try to, you know, get yourself through it by thinking about, you know, what it could be like once you get out. Not realizing that you're usually in something, and it's usually utilized as a way to grow and to get stronger, to learn something. And so I'm thinking, like, right now we get a chance to learn something. I'm not looking forward to whatever is supposed to be coming. So I'm appreciate every moment I have right now as best as I can. Quantitative easing, more like quantitative stealing. Very much so. The old argument, if I don't see it, don't exist. Yeah, man, that's what it is. But, yeah, so I wanted to get back to this article about, here we at. Fed uses Chicago conference to signal it will use quantitative easing aggressively to fight, the next recession. So basically, what if you read this? No, actually, I'll put this in the chat for those that might want to take some time to read it. I was going to try to make a video out of it, but wasn't able to do it. But basically, what it's talking about is that the economist that was, I'm assuming, present when the Fed chairman was speaking, what he took away from it was that be prepared for 2 times more of what we already experienced. And he's saying that won't be enough. He's saying that won't be enough. And I'm thinking, like, man, so by doubling their own balance sheet to $8 trillion won't be enough. What will be enough? And then I've come to the realization, and I just did a video I'm gonna post in a minute, but the only thing that can right these wrongs will be a crash. A crash to where everything, as Gregory Mannarino loves to say, equates to its fair market value. What the average person can afford to participate in, buy, or to have in their possession at a rate at which they themselves earn income. And so right now with real estate, for example, I forgot what the metrics are, but I think Mike Maloney talked about this, but, you know, based upon trends, it's something like the average salary, you shouldn't have more house than 10 times your annual salary, or it shouldn't cost you no more than 10 times your annual salary, or something like that. I forgot what it was. But using those those type of metrics that have been good up until this recessionary monetary policy bubble stuff we've been in, housing prices, for example, are extremely inflated. And so most people, the average person, truly can't afford the type of housing that's being sold these days. So that lets you know that there's a big gap in what you can afford to what the market is charging based upon this artificial nature of economy we're in. So that has to get somewhat closer. Like if people can afford it, then that lets me know that we're well beyond that that need for a correction. Hell, we need a correction. Like so unfortunately, everything that's inflated, whether it be the equities market with Dow at 25,000, which will probably go higher, of course. But once again, one share of the Dow, it's 25,000 something or close there. But yet, 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was like, what, 6,000 a share? So, we got 1990 measurements prior to all this monetary easing to today. 6,000-ish, give or take, or whatever it was, 25,000. That's a big gap. So it needs to get back into somewhat normalcy where your average person can participate in order for it to be a even economy. But yet right now it's very lopsided. It's a lot of people who have, or a small amount of people who have majority of it, and a whole lot of people who don't have enough. And that's the problem right now. We got too many people, as the low blood pressure mentioned, hand to mouth type of people, paycheck to paycheck, as it says, the video I did a while ago. More, was it 40, 50% of the population is paycheck to paycheck? So if you got majority of people in that area where they are one check away from having issues, and you got 100 people up here that's like billionaires that consumes 70, 80% of all the global wealth, look at that gap, man. That has to get back into some type of balance. So with all that said, the best thing would be a complete correction of everything that's been artificially pumped up, which, the Federal Reserve, with this type of talk here, they're committed to keeping that artificial nature going so that they themselves can continue to further their balance sheet, because their balance sheet is loaded with actual tangible assets apart from government debt. But that government debt that they took on, we're going to pay back through taxes, so they're going to get theirs regardless. But yeah, man, this is what's going on. But I thought I would just check in this afternoon because I won't be able to do nothing tonight. And I wasn't able to do anything the prior 2 nights. And so just want to find out what's going on. But this article here, for those that are interested, I put it in the chat stream. I would encourage you to take a look at it because we have an external economist sitting in on the Fed's meeting, which they did for the first time out of nowhere as a way to warm you up to what's coming. And so they are about to go down a pathway that no institution has ever done, hell, probably since the Roman Empire, when they diluted the denarius and all those other monetary experiments they did on the people. We know how that ended. And so my thing, what troubles me the most is they are changing their policy. They're implementing and changing the game. And from a financial investment standpoint, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people will even adjust or even think differently. And so they're going to print like crazy, and people are going to save like crazy, and to put money in assets that they are purposely inflating, and they don't see nothing wrong with that. So that's going to be, very problematic for a lot of people in the end. But as always, for those that are aware and awake, do what you do best, do what you know, get your weight up. Don't waste time. Don't use this time wisely. Like low blood pressure said, he said, well, he can't wait. I can wait. I'm not in no rush because I want to enjoy this remaining part of these good years before things are forced to change as things correct rather. So with that being the case, I'm about to get ready to dial back. Got to make some moves. But anyway, be blessed, be safe, and more importantly, as you see here, there's always opportunities to get your weight up in paper form. And as always, I'm not sure where I'm at on the count, but I got these little beauties right here. The Get Your Weight Up Scary George coins available for you guys. So information beneath this video. And if more importantly, if you've enjoyed the back and forth and just my, I ain't gonna say it's my predictions, but I hope I'm wrong. But yet, the trend coming of this infrastructure package is gonna be rolled out. That's gonna keep this bubble going. If you enjoy that type of stuff, let me know what you think in the comment. More importantly, don't be afraid to donate a thumbs up to the channel. Shows your support as well as help other people find out about what we do over here at Rethinking the Dollar. But enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.